We laugh. We cry. We learn. But really, what doesn't kill you makes you better at managing clients and everyone. I'm Morgan Friedman, and this is Client Horror Stories.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Client Horror Stories. I'm excited to have with me the one and only Andrew Bolton. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me back.
So before we jump in, I always recommend to everyone who wants to come on Client Horror Stories to have alcohol while they tell the story. So what are you drinking today, Andrew?
This is Bushmills. I'm a Bushmills guy. In our family, there's for anybody that knows the Bushmills Jameson kind of feud, either you're a Jameson drinker or you're a Bushmills drinker. Me, I'm a Bushmills drinker. And this is the 10-year single malt, and it is absolutely fantastic. And the one whiskey I always recommend that anybody should have in their stash is Bushmills Black. It is a smooth, light, smoky caramel flavor to it that it just for the price point for like $45, you get a really nice bottle of whiskey. You really do. So I highly recommend it.
I love it. So I know absolutely nothing about the Bushmills Jameson feud. I'd love the 3 sentence version, and then we can get into our regularly scheduled story.
Basically, they're just two different sides of Ireland. One is in Southern Ireland, the other is in Northern Ireland, Dublin. So Bushmills is brewed in Dublin. It's the oldest registered distillery in the world. So there's always like this kind of like north versus south kind of feud between Jameson and Bushmill drinkers. I mean, split one half dozen the other. If you're an Irish bar, you drinking whiskey, whatever they got, whatever they got. But when they do have Bushmills, I do prefer a glass of Bushmills.
I love it. Yankees versus Mets, even if in the big scheme of things, pretty similar. You choose your
Yeah,
identity, you
somewhat.
choose
The
it.
Yankees and Mets hometown. We have our as New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, we have our quirks about us. So either like Mets fans are Mets fans, Yankees fans are diehard Yankees fans. So our family is split kind of down the middle. We Subway. Whenever there's a Subway series, it gets kind of interesting around here. So there you go.
I grew up right near Shea Stadium, so as there is
Oh,
one,
I know exactly where you fall. You fall. I know exactly where you fall.
exactly. There's there's
Hey,
no
listen,
other option.
I got nothing against the Mets. I just grew up on the Yankee side of the family.
Understood. You're a Yankees guy. That just means we can never be friends. I might have to start drinking Jameson just to piss you off.
You know, as long as the rounds on you, you can drink whatever you want. As long as the rounds just keep coming, we can drink whatever you want. As
the
long as it's
true
not
cap-
Jägermeister. I can't do Jägermeister.
the true capitalist answer. I love it.
I haven't been to a bar probably since probably about last year with the company just being busy as it is that I remember in my earlier days going through Wall Street and, meeting clients and, doing the whole bar scene in New York City. I remember vodka tonics were like $30. You had to be careful because you could run up a $500 bar tab very easily. I remember the first time I saw 1,000, I think it was like $1,200 bar tab. I nearly had a heart attack. I couldn't believe like I couldn't believe we went through that much money.
Client acquisition can be expensive. It goes into your CPA.
Oh, it does. Well, especially if you have like 4 guys with you. It it was scary how fast that tab just started flying up.
Totally. And with this awesome preface, let's jump in. I'd love to hear your favorite client horror story this afternoon.
Our favorite client horror story is the one that is right now breaking our system. So after that we spoke, we had a late night phone call, and it came in at around
Wait,
11:30.
wait, but before that, when in our previous call we were preparing for this, so I know all the background and context for what we do,
Oh,
but but now we're recording not live, but this is being recorded. So some
okay.
context on what you on what you guys do would be great for all of the viewers today.
Okay, fantastic. So my name is Andrew Bolton. I am the CEO of Tech Rescue LLC. We are a 24-hour customer support helpline. We handle everything from Bluetooth connectivity to skins on Fortnite to Star Wars Battlefield and Star Wars Old Republic. We, as long as you have data or Wi-Fi and you can get to us, we can get to you. So we handle any type of technical issues for seniors, assisted living facilities, small businesses. We handle the tech so you can get back to life. So if mom and dad are always constantly calling about can't find a picture on Facebook, or they're having problems uploading pictures to Instagram, instead of you getting up and having to do it, just call us 855-250-8586, and 24 hours 7 days a week, we handle it all. And we do it with empathy because we've all been there. And
By the way, I I love the self promotion, and just because we established a few minutes ago, we're both New Yorkers, and we seem to be about a comparable age. Your whole pitch, including the phone number at the end, reminds me of Crazy Eddie. I think
yes,
no one watching this will remember because it was like a New York thing from 30 years ago. But you have to know what I'm
Crazy
talking.
Eddie, Crazy Eddie's sale commercials.
Exactly.
So what we've noticed since our inception about 2 years ago is we've been dealing with a much different demographic in terms of our senior citizens. We are dealing with a totally different senior 65 and older. They are engaging in much more of technology. They are buying computer systems, they're buying video games, they're buying Xbox, PlayStation because they're having connections with their grandkids. Their grandkids are coming home from school, and instead of meeting at the park, which kids don't do anymore, they're engaging on Fortnite. They're engaging in World of Warcraft. They're meeting up with
Ugh.
their kids on a Star Wars platform. They are engaging with their kids and their grandkids in a much more connective but digital way. And what we've also noticed is that with a much more active senior group, we are dealing with much more adult like topics, such as dating.
I just want to call out because we're not yet at the horror story, but I just find it super interesting. The
Mhm.
image I have of my grandma is just like sitting in a rocking chair back and forth all day long and not doing much else. So like think about grandma hunched over at a PlayStation is incredible.
Well, I mean, in the past, what, 15 years, electronics, system hardwares, and accessories have dropped in price almost 183% over the past 15 years. So what was once thousands of dollars of a plasma screen TV, you could go to Walmart and get a 60-inch plasma, 65-inch plasma for like $300. You can get a PlayStation 4
Right.
or 5 for less than $700. So you buy a couple of games, so you got the PlayStation, you got the TV, couple of games. Now you sign up for the PlayStation Store and you subscribe to us. We'll help you sign up to your subscription on the PlayStation or Xbox Store. And now you can find your grandkids or your children and you can now engage with them. And that's what we've been doing. Almost, I would say 27% of our call volume is coming in on on video games alone, whether that's online platforms or hardwired platforms, PSP, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. We're dealing with a much active senior citizen.
Wow. It's a whole new world out there. So
It
then
is.
okay, so you just mentioned you're seeing a lot of adult issues with senior citizens. Tell us a bit about that. I see you trying to choose your words carefully. I love it.
Oh yeah,
This is being recorded.
I
Go
know
ahead.
it. I know it is. I know it is. So one of the stories that I have to share is not too long ago. I receive any phone call that gets elevated past the point of our expertise. So I was elevated to a situation where a subscriber, a client of ours, called in and wanted to send a certain type of video to another person. Well, they have been told by their grandchildren what WhatsApp was and how it's beneficial with it being encrypted and that messages can't really be hacked or messages can't really be saved if they're done on a one-time click through. Now, for anybody who doesn't know that, your WhatsApp images, when you select an image from your file, you can select the video, you can select the picture, and then once you select it, a little circle appears just above the green send button. It's a little green circle with a black outline
Yes.
triangle above that. You press that once, that picture or video will only appear once.
One
And
time
after
view.
you watch it, you can no longer watch it again. This has become quite popular with today's youth for various reasons whatsoever. The gentleman in question happened to be someone in the 70 plus tier bracket.
Okay.
So, for someone to be asking how to send a certain video, the origins of this call stemmed from we originally, a few weeks ago, helped him sign up for Tinder.
Because you have a subscription basis, you see them across different
We have two
services.
platforms. So we have a monthly subscription and we have an annual subscription. Now, I was elevated to this conversation, so I pulled up the call and I listened to the call. The gentleman in question was nervous for talking to his children and grandchildren about said subject. So when we helped him with his social media dating profiles, this was something done, obviously in confidence. And he
Yes.
felt reassured that his children and, his family weren't going to be asking too many questions that didn't want to explain to him. And I completely understand. Sir, I completely understand. Less questions, more power to you.
Okay, so I just want to be clear, sending one-time messages because he just wants to send like say secret private things like gossip he doesn't want to be repeated. So he just want he just wants to like say something he's scared
For
of like
for
insult someone
for
forward
for
it.
wha for whatever reason, he only wanted a picture sent once and seen once.
By the way, for the record, this is an R-rated podcast. So if you're thinking anything, feel you can say
Understandably, but, I understand, but we have to keep some discretion for our clientele and also our
it.
brand recognition too. We are a
Absolutely.
family brand. We are a family company.
I love it. I support it completely. I'm a tech rescue fan.
And so, obviously, this got elevated to the project manager. Our project manager did not wanna touch this, and I absolutely totally agree.
Do not want
They
to touch this.
they didn't wanna touch this in any way, shape, or form. I know, pun intended. You like that? There you
I
go.
appreciated it.
So I received the phone call and I listened to the message. I listened to the call, the transcript, and I went, okay, I'll handle this personally. So I called the gentleman in question personally. And I said, hi, this is Andrew Bolton, CEO of Tech Rescue. It's been brought to my attention that you have some questions and you need some help and assistance. Conversation proceeded. I engaged in what we do. We send a third party link. It's an encrypted link that allows me to gain access to your phone, tablet, or computer. And we're able to do whatever we need to do. And once we break that connection, I can no longer get into the computer whatsoever. So once it's over, it's done. I cannot gain access to your computer ever again, and
Right.
we're no longer
Right.
connected. I took over the computer. I went to web WhatsApp, and we went through the process. A very important note, gentlemen. Very important note. when you go into WhatsApp and you sign up for WhatsApp, if your pictures and videos are synced to your drive, Google Drive, whatever you take a picture of, if it's a non one time event, will automatically save and sync to your picture and photo file in Google. Do not make this mistake.
I love the reading between the lines.
Go to settings, go under to media, click on media, and uncheck the sync box. Do not be stupid. So, because some of us in these earlier youth days have made this terrible mistake, I knew exactly where to go. I wasn't going to go into that folder. Didn't want to know what that folder was. So, because that's probably going to be somewhere in the top 3 rows because it was a recent incident. So, I'm not going to go there. There was a picture on his desktop. It was a picture of family. So I said, fine. Here is your personal phone number. So on WhatsApp, you see your personal number. You can actually send photos and videos to yourself. So I showed him how to do it. And I said, by the way, this process works for anything that you might have interest in sharing with other people. But I highly recommend we only do it once. So it cannot be screenshotted and it cannot be saved and it cannot be identified later. Also, do not make the early mistakes that a lot of us did, and don't do a downward angle. Do an upward. Don't do an upward angle. Do a downward angle, and stay away from your face. Don't be stupid. The internet does not forget.
By the way, with every episode of Client Horror Stories, I try to get at least one new lesson that has never been shared on any previous episode. And no one has ever shared the advice to make sure you do an upward angle, not a downward angle before. So I'm
do a downward angle, not upward angle.
Oh, sorry.
Because this, you don't want this shown.
I see. You don't want to see your
don't
face.
Be stupid. I suggested to our client, be smart, don't be stupid, show it once, and try to keep anything identifiable to a minimum. Generalization is always a good idea. So with that, he thanked me for my time. I said, if there's anything else that we can help you with, please feel free to call us 24/7 a day. And we moved on, to which then I said that, why don't we address this in a sense of making it a generalization? So then we wrote the standard operating procedure. And if anything goes above what we would consider PG-13, that'll get escalated up directly to me. I will handle that personally due to sensitivity. And I have a much more lenient look on that. And I look at it this way. Somebody is calling us for help. And this is what makes our company special, is that we are a technology support helpline. We are 24 hours a day. But what we have come to find out with our clientele is that we're not really a tech support helpline. We are actually a human hotline. So we have all hot calls. All our calls are hot calls. They're confused, angry, frustrated, lost, and just desperate. So the moment you call us and you hear Mr. Scott or Mrs. Anderson, how can we help you today? You're already about 10 degrees cooler than what you were before, because when you're calling, you want help. You don't want a menu. You don't want bots. You don't want a maze. You want somebody to pick up the phone and say, here we are. We're here to help. How can I help you?
I want to observe, to what a surprisingly huge degree, all professional services is kind of just being human. I've discussed this with a few lawyer friends who consistently observe that, like, more than 50% of what your time with your lawyer does is just asking questions like, well, what kind of contract do you want? What kind of business do you want? How do you want to do it? Just help, just having someone to talk to through these basic human stuff.
See, the problem is we have focused primarily on optimization and generating alpha. There's nothing wrong with alpha. Capital and profits are something that we should strive for as an organization, as a business, regardless. But what I've come to learn through this journey of incorporation and growing our business and meeting with other leaders, and not gonna lie, I love the free VIP ball game passes that people try to sell, whatever service they have. So you get to
Yeah.
go see the Nets, you get to see the Devils, the Rangers. But the great thing that I get out of those experiences, I get to talk to other leaders, and somebody actually really made something stick with me. How you treat your customers and your people is how they treat your bottom line and your wallet. And yes, could we optimize our system with AI bots and screening out potentials? Yes, we could optimize ourselves at 13% and maybe save what, 13% over the course of our operating expenses, a couple $1,000 a month. Yeah. But you know what? That's not why we started this business. That's not why we started. And at the end of the day, people don't want another bot. They don't want to press one for English, two for Spanish. They just want to talk to somebody. And I think where we're going to see the next growth in every industry is going back to basics, which is customer service. Ever since the pandemic, we have become so far distant from one another. So with
I
you,
agree.
I could go onto your Facebook account, learn everything about you, what you have for breakfast, your family, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies. I can know everything about you by the end of the day. I don't know who you are. And we are moving as a society, I think, in that manner. Like, we know who we are, but we do not know each other. And that's where I think we have found our niche in our silo, at least in the small businesses and assisted living facilities, that we're providing that connection again, that humanity again. I know it's dramatic to say, but that's the only way I can think of, because otherwise my business wouldn't exist. I mean, the fact of the matter is my business exists and thrives is because we are desperate for that humanity connection. Otherwise, I wouldn't be profitable. No, math doesn't lie. Regardless of whatever belief anybody else has, math doesn't lie.
What I agree with that analysis. What I would add to that is it not just people need the human connection, but humans feel comfortable, safe, and better when there's a plan. Knowing someone somewhere has a plan, you can calm down. So when people, their technology is freaking out, they can't connect to this account, calling someone and they say, okay, we'll figure this out. Just hearing those words, like you can relax so much.
Because at the end of the day, we just want to be heard. We want to be heard. If we knew what we were doing, we'd be doing it. So when we get to, and this, in the second page, after our binder opens on the first page, in the second page, in big bold red letters, it says, every call is someone's most important person. It's because we started this company from my father and my grandmother. That's where it all started. So when somebody calls in, they're past that frustration point. They're at that point where they've exercised their resources, they've exercised their knowledge base, and now I need somebody to fix this because I don't know what I'm doing. So they're going to be agitated. They're going to be annoyed. I would be. So that's where we come in. We come in when you are at that breaking point and you're now calling your grandkids, you're calling your son, you're interrupting the day for somebody else because you have a problem. And now we're here to help. We're going to fix the problem with you right there with us. So now you just get to sit back and watch us work. And
I
we hear you.
I want to share a quick story, slightly
Hmm.
tangential, but relevant to what you do, and a short fun story. I'm old friends with the founder, former CEO of one of the largest tech companies out there. I'm not going to use their name. Everyone listening to this has used their service. When the day or a few days after that company went public, 15-ish, 20 years ago. I'm losing count. I don't want to. I feel old when I do the counting, so I won't. my friend who lived in Barry, I was living in New York at the time, told me, it was like, Morgan just made $1 bazillion. I want to come to New York and hang out with you. And I was like, so honored. We always had fun together. Came to New York. We had like, he stayed with me for about a week. We had an amazing week. It was like first time I had ever like experienced true luxury like that. One day when he was staying with me, remember, he just like founder superstar company. Everyone you've all used the service, and he made a fuckload of money. We're walking down St. Mark's Place in Manhattan, and he gets a call on his cell phone, and he answers it, and he says, "Hi, mom," and then like waits 30 seconds as like listening to the mom, and then he says, "Mom, unplug the modem, wait 30 seconds, and then plug it back in." And what I love about that story is like, no matter how much money you make, like no matter how successful you are, you're like still the tech support for your kids. And something that's really cool about you guys is you take that observation and you're like, everyone is someone's most special person. You need that person to call for the help. But like most kids, what happens when you don't have kids? Kids are out, they're dealing with their own kids and their own lives, but you need that connection, that person to call, to talk to. And that's where Tech Rescue comes in.
Yeah. A hard pill to swallow is that we love the people that we have in our lives. It's just that they annoy the crap out of us. They annoy the crap out of us. You're doing whatever, right? Let's say you're a gamer. You're in the middle of your game and you get that yell that they need help. You're in the middle of it and now you're like, do I pause or do I just keep going? And you're weighing your consequences for that. Or you're watching a movie and you're being interrupted. You buy back your time. That's what we do. We buy back your time for $50 a month. They never have to call you again except to talk to you, just to say hi. You don't have to get up. You don't have to stop what you're doing. For $50 a month, we'll take care of it. No matter how many times they call for the pictures, for the tweeting, for downloading a video. How do I find this song? Where do I find that folder? Where is that file? Where was the tax return? I can't find this. No more. No more. That pain, that annoyance, that frustration that I've told you for 5 times in a row this week where it was. I've shown you where it was. I went over and did it for you yesterday. How are we still talking about this? Yeah, no more. No more. One, for $400, for $400, cheaper than a pair of Jordans. Done for the year. For the year. Never again. At Christmas, how do I send the electronic card from Hallmark? You know how you click on the Hallmark? You can buy the e-card and then send it? Yeah. How many times have you done that over the past 5 years? How many times have you done that? Every year? No more. Done. Oh, my mother's favorite. How do I print the birthday card on front to back on the printer? You know how like you can fold can make
duplex
card?
printing.
Yeah. You know how many calls we get that for Mother's Day? Mother's Day weekend, we averaged out about 560 to 600 calls a day that week of Mother's Day. From how do I set up the folding cards on the printer? Where do I go to get the printer? Like everything you could possibly imagine. How do I change the ink on the printer? Or how do I get the flowers to go to my mother's job instead of, home? We do it all. We do it all. We go in, we help. As long as you have as long as you can connect to us, we can connect to you, we'll take care of it. And you watch our mouse and you see us working in the computer. Boom, done. Just call us up anytime, day or night, 24 hours a day. Sit there with your glass of coffee and whiskey, your glass of wine, or hell, go straight from the bottle. You don't have to do anything. You have to sit there and just let us work.
Tech Rescue doesn't judge.
I'm not judging you. You could be in your underwear. We don't care. We can't see you. Please don't be in your underwear, please, for legal reasons.
By the way, I haven't lived in New York for a long time, but I'm a New Yorker at heart. I love your style, your energy. It reminds me of all my friends and everyone in New York.
Oh, where are you?
I'm now in Argentina. but
Oh, wow.
I've lived all over the world.
South America is absolutely fantastic. I love Colombia. I've absolutely fallen in love with the country, and I recommend any person to get out of the country, out of the United States for at least 3 weeks. You need 3 weeks to stay out of the United States to understand what it's like living in the United States. We
I
are we are a totally different world. We are on another planet. And you have to stay out of this country for 3 weeks, for a solid 3 weeks to be desanitized, to be desensitized of the United States, and then come back, and then it will hit you. It will hit you like a freight train.
so I love the hysterical story of the guy wanting to send the pic. When we started the episode, you mentioned you're about to start. Oh, this other situation just
Oh,
happened, the biggest one yet. And
mm,
love to hear another story to round out
to round this out, this is going to poke at some of our flaws because we're not perfect.
humans.
Late last week, we had somebody call in at a very odd hour. It's a low time hour. We have heat indexes, so we can optimize where we have the most effect for our operations. Well, somebody called in around 1 o'clock. That's usually a dead hour for us. Now, mind you, we have
AM.
people on staff, but happen to go through. This person was on hold for a very long time, and apparently they felt a certain way about it, and they kept calling. We received about 150 emails in the course of from around 11:30 at night till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean,
But
4 o'clock in the morning.
from
They
11:30 to 4 a.m., they send you literally
Yeah,
150 emails.
150 emails. I had never seen anything like this ever.
Like, how is it even possible to send that many? It was like
Don't
one word
I
emails.
don't I don't know. I don't know. They were just they were angry one sentence emails that were in slews of congregations of like 2 and 8 minute long periods. The longest period stretch was around 16, 17 minutes between the emails. And over the weekend, we reevaluated our call times, we reevaluated our flow through process. This one incident cost us a good amount of money in terms of overstructuring because we
Right.
have to pay to train and go through our systems, right? Because the process has to be slowed down, which is costing us, you know, quantifiable hours. And then we have to start from the very beginning in terms of calling into the call center, going through the patchwork, going through the
Right.
network channels,
Right.
then making sure that the call is properly routed to the right people that we're having on staff on shift. Well, this one particular incident now has revealed that we had a glitch in our system. We had a glitch that ran through that broke the process, that broke through our distribution in terms of call volume. So, long story short, we had a glitch in the switch that basically wasn't channeling our calls properly. Well, technology sometimes is not perfect, and allowed us to now put into our new standard operating procedure how to properly check that switchboard that goes to our teams at certain times, because what we also found out is that during the low hours there's a major system update that goes on at the
Mm,
same time. So what we now did was is that we have this the main system update is within a certain period of time. Every I think every 4 days is a system update. Well, we now paste ours based off of the systems update to our update at dead zone times. So now we hopefully think that we've now fixed that issue. And this week, even this week, yesterday, starting Monday, we've been hitting it. I've waken up. I have an alarm set this week to wake up at 1, 3, and 4 and hit our system right here from my office to make sure that we're on target, to make sure that when somebody calls, that patchwork goes through. That's my job this week, every single night, to make sure that we have that system in place. Is it a fun? Is it fun? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I hate it. And that person to that person, thank you, but you know what? I'm not happy.
what what I what I like about your analysis is you're naturally doing something that I always recommend to my clients, which is to look at every single problem through the lens of how do we update our process so this doesn't happen again. A way I often say it to my teams is I will never criticize anyone for any mistake or any problem. However, I never want to see the same problem happen twice.
After let's put it this way, after I calmed down about all of it, I my mother, who's the CFO of our company, surprisingly, I know, mother and son kind of combination. I trust her completely. After we had a conversation, we calmed down. We actually put our heads together and figured out, all right, this is a problem. It's going to happen again. So how do we prevent it from happening ever again? Because if it happens once, it will happen again. A leak. The best way to handle any organization looking at a problem, think of it this way: if there's a leaky pipe, there's a reason why there's a leaky pipe. You have to fix the pipe. You can't patch it. You have to fix the leaky pipe. Otherwise, it will keep happening. You can patch it, but eventually that patch will wear and you're going to have the same problem. So do yourself a favor, find the origins of the problem and fix that, because the patchwork is only going to go so far. And I understand sometimes budgets and constraints and times, but what I've seen with companies is they take the attitude, we'll patch for now and then we'll get back to it. And
And
it
listen,
never gets back to it.
yeah, in software development, that very concept is called tech debt. And software developers always point out that tech debt is just never paid. But what often happens is your tech debt builds up to such a big amount, you kind of have to just chuck the whole system and start all over. That's
Yeah.
it's a very common pattern.
Well, when I was working for a small startup, when we were doing artificial intelligence is very easy to build. It's a 2 by 2 matrix that has a 1 0 and a yes no type of probability, right? That's how we work with artificial intelligence. It needs a framework that
Yes,
builds and builds and builds. The 2 by 2 matrix is very easy. That's where the AI or the probability analysis lives.
yes,
It's the function in which it lives. Where things get complicated is as we keep going down the branches and you develop the probability analysis for what it can and can't do. That's where you start having the problem. And when you find a glitch in the code, you have to start from the very top and work your way down the bottom. And it is not easy. It is not easy. It's not fun. And it could take, and they call it blitzes. And we were doing blitzes in the early, or COVID in 2020. So like 2018, 2019, we were doing code blitzes every week, just going and going and going. It was rough. It was a rough period because I was on the sales side. So whenever you were trying to do a sales pitch and do a demonstration, the system wasn't up because they were doing runs. And I'm like, so you had to coordinate with the development team when they were going to be doing a rollout or when they were going to do a crash or a beta, because then that's the only time I could do a sales pitch is when they were actually not touching anything.
not touching it.
I remember one time I was in a conference room and I opened up the door and I yelled at the top of my lungs, "Stop touching shit!"
I knew I could get an R-rated word out of you. Finally, as the episode
Is
ends,
that the goal? Is that the goal? Well, really, it wasn't. It was that. I opened up the door and I said, "Get your fucking hands off the computer and stop touching shit," and slammed the door.
spoken like a true New Yorker. This is the New York themed
Because they were
episode.
in the system. I was in a presentation and they were in the system. So when we were trying to do coordinates and do probability analysis, the system would freeze up and the error would come up. And when you're dealing with a high end client, like that is
Yeah,
not the symbol
not
you want.
acceptable.
That is like you're just trying to smile and you're like, ha 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 ha. And they're like, just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. And I walked back in and I'm like, all right, there we go. We should have a problem now. So we finished it out. Believe it or not, actually, how we how we got that deal is we got them really smashed. We took them to a Boston bar. We took them to a Boston bar and we got them plastered.
We know it's a good episode of Klein Horror Stories when the end wraps around to the beginning. And in the beginning, we opened by talking about getting your clients plastered or in sales, and now we can conclude at the same point. Another learning from this episode.
The best way, I think, in technology to get a deal done is with Irish car bombs.
God,
Irish car bombs got a deal done.
I have not had an Irish car bomb in 15 or 20 years.
Oh, they're fantastic.
I love it.
I love it.
So, oh, by the way, for any of you, all right, first off, for any of you college kids who think you know what you're doing drinking, you don't. You don't. Stop it. You don't know what the hell you're doing. A proper Irish car bomb is a double shot glass. Bailey's in the first. Bailey's half the glass. Bushmills half the glass. Then you have a full pint of Guinness. Guinness. Nothing else. Guinness. Full pint of Guinness. Drop. Boom. Chug. That's an Irish car bomb. Pinnacle Whip and this whipped cream nonsense that you kids are doing is not an Irish car bomb. I have no idea what you are doing. But that is not an Irish car bomb. Stop it. Stop it.
Lucky I'm not the dictator, because if I were dictator, I would make illegal whipped cream on any drink given to a guy.
In all honesty, it depends on context and location and situation, because depending on who's delivering it and how it's delivered, that I might argue that. Las Vegas, all I'm going to just say on that subject is Las Vegas and Miami Beach. There's always a gray area for certain things.
It's 2025. If you like umbrellas in your drinks, I fully support it.
There's nothing wrong with mojito, and I will stand 10 toes on that subject. Mojitos and Russian mules, absolutely. Moscow mules, absolutely.
Moscow mules,
mojitos, and I will definitely enjoy a strawberry daiquiri. Excuse me, I will absolutely enjoy that. I am not afraid of that whatsoever.
You are a modern man.
And a Bahama Mama, absolutely. Out of a pineapple, please. Please. I will absolutely see if I can drink calories in my body weight with Bahama Mamas on a beach somewhere in someplace warm. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy your umbrella in your drink, sir. Enjoy it. Enjoy it with pride.
There's an old Yiddish saying that my grandma used to say, which is Jews aren't allowed to eat pork. So my grandma
uses this old saying, which is, if you're gonna eat pork, eat the best kind.
Okay.
And it's like if you're gonna put an umbrella in your drink, put a huge umbrella, drink it with pride. Go all out drinking like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it. And with that, I want to thank you for coming, Andrew. This has been a very different episode than usual, but awesome. We got multiple lessons in. I think I've laughed more in this episode than possibly any other episode, probably all other episodes combined. But this is the sign it's a good episode. Everyone that's made it to the end, thank you for watching, and we hope that you've enjoyed watching and you've learned as much as we've had making this episode.
Remember, one-time video, one-time photo.
The takeaway.
Downward angle, not upward. Discretion is key, gentlemen. Discretion is key.
I love it. Great takeaway. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.